The biggest mistake I made in my business was not hiring a professional to help me with my money. Not just my taxes, but the actual plan I had for my business. I was completely lost on how to handle taxes, what to do with profit, and how to maintain my income. I had to find a better way. That's when I found Core Financial. Core Financial is a team of tax professionals that actually care about building real relationships with their clients. They run my books, keep me up to date with my finances, and make sure I'm taking full advantage of all of my tax benefits. Are you struggling with your finances? Look no further. Core Financial is a brand that is nationwide that can help you with your business. Both Nick and I are huge fans of Core, and they can help you too. Check out howtofilmweddings.com/core to schedule a consultation today. Core Financial, real relationships, no surprises. Hello and welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is John Bunn. It's a brand new week. I'm joined by my best good bearded buddy, Mr. Nick Miller. Nick, it's a new week. How are you? Hello. Good day, good sir.
Hello. Good day. I decided to take an opportune time to take a drink of my coffee right whenever you're getting ready to hand it off to me to say hello. I'm doing well. I am back in the editing bay, editing the wedding film I did in Cabo, trying some different stuff for me in this film. So I'm excited about that. It has been rainy here. Has it been rainy there?
Oh yeah. There's supposed to be rain for the next 2 weeks straight every day.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool, that it's just going to keep on raining and raining. But, we're doing all right. Kids' last day of school is next week. Then they will be home all the time, which is, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But summer is here for them.
Last day of school was this last week. Yesterday, I guess. It's still the middle of the week. So my kids are done with school now. So we're there. It's raining. They can't go outside. Yes. And so, lots of things going on. I'm really excited to see your Cabo film. I'm excited about that. Thankful for everybody that's commented and messaged about my film from Cabo. I'm really excited about that. I'm actually talking to a bride today who's getting married next year, who the wedding planner from my wedding in Cabo shared my film on Instagram, and she started messaging me asking about a wedding next May. And so I'm transitioning my brand from Redeemed Productions into John Bunn Films, and this is kind of my first John Bunn Films. I've said, hey, we're starting at $10,000. If you'd like to chat, let me know. And they said, yes, we want to chat. So that's a really nerve-wracking thing, but it's been cool. And then ever since I posted that film from Cabo, lots of inquiries, 8 or 9 inquiries in the last week, several out of state, and one big one in Dallas that I also said I start at 10,000, and they're like, okay, let's meet. So they want to talk. So very good mojo from that film. But we made a post yesterday in our Facebook group. I was just it was on my mind. I think that with COVID and everything going on and people out of work and just the ebbs and flows of business outside of COVID, even if COVID didn't exist, I know there's been several times in my business where I'm borderline depressed or borderline just over it. I'm in a rut, and we just wanted to have a conversation with no real outline, but on the topic of what to do when you're in a rut, or just checking in with how each other are, and thought it would be good to just have that conversation on the podcast and open up that bag of worms for people to know that it is okay to not feel creative for a season. It's okay to want to quit your job. It's okay to, be feeling what you're feeling, and we're here for you as How to Film Weddings. It was really cool when we made that post, just so many people talking about what they're going through, as well as other people just wrapping their arms around each other saying it's okay, it's going to be all right. So yeah, Nick had the idea of just going through some chit chat about that and breaking down what we've been going through. And so that's what we're doing today, Mr. Nick Miller.
Yes, it is what we're doing today. And I don't mean to get preachy, because I used to be a youth minister and all that kind of stuff, but for a second, I am going to. And one of the things that I would tell my youth group students a lot is, when it comes to what you're going through and, your life and stuff, the biggest lie that you can believe is that you are the only person going through this. You are the only one that is struggling with this specific thing. You are the only one that is weird, or you are the only one that is, you fill in the blank. And I think as a small business owner, who maybe you work from home, or, maybe you're a solopreneur. I know I'm a little different than some of you because, my wife runs this business with me. But I think one of the biggest lies that us small business owners can believe is that no one else is struggling with this. No one else thinks this way. No one else is like, oh man, Stanton Giles films are amazing. He never struggles with this kind of stuff. He never has creative block. I guarantee you that he does. Like everyone Blink Films, someone that has these creative, artsy films, I guarantee you that Catherine has struggles whenever she is putting her films together. And we, again, look at other people's highlight reels and compare our behind the scenes to them. And so I love this topic of opening it up and kind of pulling the layers back of what it means to be a small business owner in the creative field, and knowing that sometimes you're just kind of in a funk, and maybe there's certain things that you need to do to get out of that. And we'll kind of talk through some of those things that we have done with that. So there's a few thoughts.
I like what you're saying for sure about, like, I do think the biggest lie that we believe is that nobody else is going through this. And that's one of the things that's made How to Film Weddings so successful, is we wanted to be a safe place for people to go when they're going through things. And so maybe you're not in a place where you're going through things, but, which is great. But what I've seen now, this next month will be the 14-year anniversary of my very first couple, which means that I'm starting my 15th year into weddings next month. And so I've been around the sun 14 times as a wedding filmmaker. And I have experienced a lot of things over time. Do you need a sec, Nick? You're winking off the side. There must be a pretty lady over there.
Oh, there is a pretty lady.
Yeah. Stop. Hold yourself back. If you need a minute, just turn the camera off, and I'll just check back in a second. Easy, he says. But 15th year doing this, I've realized that there are a lot of times where I don't feel like doing this, and there are a lot of times where I'm going through something, and for a while I felt like guilty for going through something. And so that's really good what you're saying, just that you're not the only one going through things. And so I would love to kind of break down a little bit, to get real, get personal about some times in our businesses, or maybe even what we've been going through the last year and a half with everything that's been going on. So, Nick, anything you want to add to that? Anything you want to go through?
One of the things that I think is probably the biggest problem specifically for our industry, right? Well, small business owners in general, but we're talking about wedding videographers, right? Is the fact that we have to wear all of the hats. We have to be the filmmaker, we have to be the emailer, we have to be the editor, we have to be the accountant, we have to be the marketer. You fill in the blank. These are, and as a small business owner, you can think of 1,000 different things that you could be doing with your time to grow your business. And I think one of the biggest struggles that that still hurt me is the paralysis by analysis, right? Which is, I think of all of the things that I have to do. And because I'm thinking of all the 10 things that need to get done, now I don't do any of them because I'm just so stressed out and so freaked out that I can't do everything at once. In our mastermind this last week, Max Sadek came on, and he talked about Facebook marketing and ads and and I know I wrote like a few pages of notes, and I got really excited about all these things I could do. But then I sat there and I thought, okay, I want to do all this ad stuff, but there's my highest paying wedding couple ever. I am working on this film, and I am putting way more time and energy than, I care to admit, right, in getting this perfect and getting this right. We have How to Film Weddings to Nurture. We have it's just all of these things. And so I'm kind of like, can I just go play video games for a while? Because I'm kind of stressed out about all of this stuff. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys that are listening can relate to that. I have 10 things that I keep thinking about. And so what do we do, John? What do you do whenever you sit down and you list out all the things that you need to do and you have, 18 pages front and back of things that you need to do? Did you get my reference there? The 18 pages front and back, did you get that? Anybody?
Yes, I just heard that somewhere.
It's Friends, whenever.
Okay, yeah.
After Ross and Rachel break up and she writes him a note and he has to agree to it.
I just saw the trailer for the Friends remake and that was on. That was on there. I agree, and I think as entrepreneurs, or as business owners, we are wearing a lot of hats, and ironically or coincidentally, I guess so, you and I are both wearing hats today, which is fun. Sure. out of nowhere, a protein coffee just came into your frame, or whatever that is.
It is an Epic Elvis protein shake. My wife just got back from her trainer, and she got me one.
Man, that means it's got peanut butter and banana in it if it's Elvis. But there's a lot of hats we wear, literally and figuratively, I guess so. But yeah, you start analyzing all the things you need to do, and it's like, I'm going to just take a nap instead, or I'm going to play video games. And what I've learned over the years is that, like, if you get everything done, that's actually a bad thing. If you have everything done, you have nothing to do, something is wrong, and there should always be items out there for you to be checking off your list. But my personality type is I get so focused on the list that I forget to enjoy the ride. I forget to enjoy the edit. I forget to enjoy the meeting. I'm just in a hurry to get to that next thing on my list to get it done. I'm so focused that, like, I forget that, I should be enjoying the climb of getting to where I want to be in my business. And I remember thinking, whenever I make $100,000 in a year, that will be like, that's it. That's success. Right. And then I got there and was like, well, I mean, okay. And then I did it again, another year and another year. And it's like, this is fine. But, like, I didn't enjoy that process. And so many people message us and they're like, I'm just starting and I'm so frustrated and I have only got 2 weddings and I would just encourage you out there to enjoy the process and just every day prioritize your task list and start and just go and get as much done as you can and leave yourself wanting more for the next day. If you think about it as in workouts or whatever, you don't want to go to the gym on day 1 and do so many things that the next day you can't even move. You want to leave yourself a little bit of room. You want to run for 20 minutes instead of 45 and just, like, get done and be like, okay, I'm good. Consistency over time is way better than, like, killing it for a day. And so that's what I do whenever I'm overwhelmed with my list, is just start organizing it into what's most important and just start going and being okay with the fact, knowing that it's not going to get all done.
Yes. And let's be practical about this really quick, because we're talking about when you get overwhelmed, or when you feel like you have so much that you need to do, or you have all of these things. What practically speaking can you do to combat some of this stuff? Let's specifically talk about the paralysis by analysis. Okay. So as John is talking about lists and that sort of stuff, why don't you just do a brain dump right now? If you are feeling this, like, I have so much to do, I am so stressed out, I don't know what to, like, there were several people, that commented on this thread. There was one guy that parents passing away, and then a divorce, and, all sorts of stuff. And then another one talking about, I'm a new mom, and, baby, and job, and, like, it's too much. So do a brain dump and write down all of the things that are on your plate, on your mind, that that you need to accomplish. Write them all down, get them out. Because I know that there's some people that just have a real problem with, I just have all these thoughts in my head and I can't do anything because everything's in there. But if you take that time and you write everything out, that can help you empty your brain, so to speak. And for this kind of exercise, I actually recommend pen and paper, so that, I don't know, there's something, at least for me, John might be a little bit different, but I recommend pen and paper. And then after you get all of that stuff down, I would then take the top, 3, 4, 5 things, just a few, not all of them, and rank them. Say, this is the most important thing that I need to do right now, then this, then this, then this. And whenever I do this, sometimes I make lists like this, but then I don't make any kind of action plan on how to accomplish it. Mm-hmm. So that's another problem with it is like, okay, I know I have all this stuff to do, but I don't have an action plan. So write out your list, rank them, and then say, okay, here's my calendar for the week. I need to work at least, let's say you have another full-time job. So you're like, I need to work at least 4 hours a day on this stuff, and then kind of map it out that way. Or if you're like me and John, where you're at your home office all day and you can work on your business all the time, map it out. From 9 to 10, I will do this. From 10 to noon, I will do this. From 1 to, whatever. And then start chipping away at that stuff and create an action plan. So if you feel like you're overwhelmed with all of the things that you need to do, that's a great place to start, to make a list, mm-hmm. then plan out when and how you're going to accomplish those things. John, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I do. I think a lot about. I think a lot about. I do. I think a lot about like how hard it is to get myself motivated. Like especially when I'm not going to the gym a lot. Like, but to go or to like I have a treadmill in a room at my house, and it's like. I'm going to go run on the treadmill today. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I keep thinking I'm going to do it. I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to do this and if it doesn't happen, I beat myself up about it. But like within 90 seconds of getting on the treadmill, my whole mindset shifts and I'm like, I'm going to do this every day. I'm going to get back in the best shape of my life. I'm going to be fit. And I think most people just keep looking at that treadmill or whatever that thing is and say, I'm going to get to that instead of just starting, or I'm too tired to go work out, or I'm too tired to start on that edit, or I'm too tired to call that footage, or I'm too tired to call that vendor, or whatever it is. But if you can just get yourself started and take baby steps, and it's like, I'm just going to run on the treadmill for 5 minutes today. I'm going to do 5 minutes a day all week. And then a week goes by. And if you did that every day, the next week you're like, probably can, like you're in a routine. You've got yourself, in a place where you can work out and feel good about yourself. That's the same thing with some of these tasks. And on the other side of it, switching kind of to people that have been going and working out every day, all day for years and years, there is a side of it to where you sabbatical or where you rest that you need to plug into your calendar. And I know that I am not good at this and haven't been good at this, to where the only vacations that my family and I have gone on since my daughter has been born have all been around where I'm flying to for a wedding. And I will take rest based on going to that wedding. I'm filming a wedding in Hawaii, so we'll film the wedding and stay. That's great. But like every time there's still some kind of work attachment to it. And so I just text Nick this morning, this summer I'm taking 10 days off. We're taking a road trip. We're going to go see the world a little bit of the United States, and enjoy some of the big parks in the country, and like just taking 10 days off. And I'm preparing for that, and I'm getting ready for that, and I'm going to do a lot of work leading up to it. But I'm looking forward to that rest, to unplug, so I can get to a place where I'm just listening to what's going on in my heart, or where I want to go with my life, my direction with my wife, with our kids, because our life is more than just our jobs. Our life is more than that. And so like for me, I work hard all this time, and it's like, what am I doing to replenish and re-energize myself? And some of us, it's like we're doing a full-time job. We're also working on this. We're trying to do all the things. We're listening to the How to Film Weddings podcast. We're taking courses, and we see all these things that we need to do in our business. And you're looking at my highlight reel and saying, wow, John, you're charging $10,000 to start out for a wedding. That's crazy. You get, your Cabo film was this or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but I've been going at it for 15 years. So you can't compare yourself to where I'm at. You can compare yourself to where you're at. And so there's this reflection that you need to be doing, looking at how far you've come. You need to also be like really working on your list and getting things moving if you're in that state. And then you also need to sabbatical and to rest, and to Sabbath, or whatever you want to call it, to take your time off so you can like relax and recharge, knowing that you're never really going to get to the end of that to-do list. And if you do, something is incredibly wrong.
Yeah, I think that all of this is just great things that is much easier said than done, especially, if you have kind of the personality types that John and I have, where you're like, oh, even on, I'm taking the night off and I'm hanging out with my family and my kids, I'm still in the back of my mind thinking about, oh, this thing that needs to be done or that thing that needs to be done. And so we know that talking about this stuff isn't easy. Okay. And it takes commitment. It takes, I don't know, you just trying to do it for a while. But that's a great, action plan that you can take for right now in kind of getting back on your feet. That phrase that my dad told me that I've shared a lot, that John loves, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Just do it step by step, little by little. And eventually, you will hopefully get to a better place where you feel like you're floating, or you feel like you're not drowning. So another aspect of this that we wanted to talk about is what do you do when you're feeling in a creative rut? Like, what do you do, whenever you're like, okay, I need to sit down and edit this film and I'm not feeling it. So we're going to jump into that and talk about that here in a minute after this break.
What would you take on if you had an extra set of hands? What would you do with your free time if you didn't have to edit? So many of us get bogged down in the post-production hustle that we never seem time to focus on our business. John and I both felt that way until we found Wedditor. Wedditor is a post-production team of top wedding film editors and project managers that give your films and brand the extra eyes, ears, and hands that they need. Not only is Wedditor delivering films we love to our couples faster, but we can invest ourselves fully in other areas of our business knowing that Wedditor has our back. Be the first to know how your second shooters are doing, how those new LUTs work with your footage, and relax knowing your couples are getting the full attention they deserve on every single project. So what could you do with an extra hand? Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/Wedditor, whether you're ready to start now or preparing for next season. Be sure to use promo code HTFW for $50 off your first project. If you're interested in this service, make sure you head over to howtofilmweddings.com/Wedditor soon. Fall 2020 spots are lined up and filling up fast. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing.
Finding the perfect song for your wedding film can be so frustrating. We spend countless hours searching for the perfect song. When it comes to licensing music, Nick and I both love MusicBed. Not only do they have the best music, but their website makes it so easy to find the perfect song and to find it fast. We have both been using the MusicBed's wedding subscription for years and cannot recommend it enough. Not only are they adding new music from incredible musicians like Chapters, The Light, The Heat, and Tony Anderson all the time, they've made it incredibly easy to search their library for mood, genre, instrumentation, and even key. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed and use promo code HTFW for a free month of a MusicBed wedding subscription. howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed.
Okay, we are back from break. We're kind of talking about this idea of, creative rut or, just feeling overwhelmed. And there's lots of things that can go into this. But one of those things that I want to touch base on before maybe we jump into what do we do when we're in a creative rut is, and this can be our kind of Wedditor question of the day. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing. Definitely check out Wedditor if you need an edit or something like that. But John, what do you say to someone who's just feeling so overwhelmed and, who just is feeling stressed all the time? They don't feel like themselves. They feel maybe numb to what's going on around them because they just have all this stuff going on. What encouragement or what things would you say to them? Because I know when I have been in those situations, like I haven't known necessarily what I should do or who I should talk to or where I should go. So what do you have to say to that?
Yeah. First of all, I really want to throw it out there, especially when we talk about things involving your mental health. If you're in a position where you feel like you could hurt yourself or feel like there's something next level going on, we highly recommend chatting with someone, especially a professional. Like we're not, licensed to, we're not trying to give you professional advice about your mental health. But what I know is that if you're not talking to somebody, if you're going through something, if you're trying to do it alone and you're isolated, that is a dangerous territory to be in. So, excuse me, for me, like I recommend going and finding some professional help, talking to a friend, talking to a pastor, talking to a life coach, somebody that is in your world. And I also think too, like, it's becoming more and more known about in our world, of course, but just like seeing professionals, like you don't have to be in a terrible place to talk to a therapist, to talk through your emotions and your feelings with somebody, or talk to a pastor, or like that's really healthy to do. And I love that the world is kind of making that more obvious to the masses, that like talking to a professional once a month, just having that as part of your routine, or, like I go to the chiropractor once a month. It's like, I really should probably be talking to somebody once a month just as a checkup and saying, hey, this is what I'm going through. What are you, a professional that has gone through schooling, that knows what they're talking about, to just give you things to help you process what you're doing in your life. And so, whether you're going through something traumatic or whether you're just in a rut, like that affects you creatively. It affects you as a husband or a wife or a brother or a sister or whatever. And a lot of times I think that we get going and just grind and go. And then we're like over here, we've been working hard for these people we love, or for this thing that we love, or whatever we're pushing towards, and we get over there and we're kind of by ourselves on an island being like, man, like I pushed everything. I didn't enjoy this journey. I haven't processed what's going on, and I'm unfulfilled. And then that starts to bleed into your work and bleed into your life. And so having those things, those constant checkups, that is what I recommend, for people. Like, I think everyone should be seeing someone, or talking through to their friends, or having that mental health checkup. What would you add, Nick? I talked a lot.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, I want to reiterate the fact that you right now might be feeling alone. You might be feeling isolated. And that lie that you're believing because you're looking at social media, you're looking at other people, and you believe that everyone else is good, everyone else is fine, everyone else has it all together. And we're here to tell you that that is not true. And then whenever you believe in that lie, all you're doing is isolating yourself even more. So if you have the means, or you have the ability to talk to a professional, go for it. But even if it's, hey, someone that you've, gotten to know, that's in the industry, whether it's in your area, maybe it's through our Facebook group, maybe it's, through something else, just reach out to them and touch base with them and talk with them, about what's going on and what you're feeling and how stressed you are and how overwhelmed you are and how you just feel like you can't get it all together. And I guarantee you that they will be able to relate to you if they're in a similar industry, being an entrepreneur. I guarantee you that they're going to know exactly what you are talking about. So we're not professionals, and we don't have all the answers, but we have been through what a lot of you guys have been through. And we just want you to know that there are other people that can understand and know where you are coming from.
Yeah, and if I can go to a really real spot, I would love to kind of break down the last 12 months of what's been going on with me. And, it's every day, like you don't notice if anything is really changing, and then 6 months goes by and you're like, oh, well, I'm over here frustrated about this, or I'm over here. But this time last year, especially March, April, I was in the best shape of my life, or at least the last 10 years. I had been eating really clean, exercising really, like everything was going great. I had lost 35 pounds. I'd hired a trainer. Business is good. Everything is just kind of firing on all cylinders. And, I was in a really good spot, March, April. And then the world shut down, the gym shut down, and I was like, okay, I got this. I'm John Bunn. Like, I got this. I can do all things. I'm strong. I'm whatever, it's like, and so the gym's closed, and I'm like, I'm going to run a lot and do a lot of, I didn't have a home gym at that point or anything. And so it's like, I'm going to run through my neighborhood. I'm going to do 5Ks. I'm going to do push-ups. And was running the hills of my neighborhood and pulled a muscle in my back, and it just started hurting. And I was just like, well, crap, I'm not going to run as much. And nothing big, but gained a couple pounds back, was fine, not eating crazy bad, anything like that. Fast forward through the summer, I had put on like 6 or 7 pounds back of the 35. No big deal. All things are good. My wife and I found a house that we love. We weren't looking for a house, but with everything going on in the market, we were like, let's just check and see. And we found the house of our dreams, and we went for it. We made an offer, and we got approved for the offer. So we put our house on the market, and 2 weeks into that, having offers on our current house, the deal fell through with our current home that we're in now. Fast forward in a second to how we got into it. But so emotionally, we went through thinking we were going to move, and then we didn't move. And that's in the middle of launching courses and creating education and shooting weddings. And a lot of people are always like, how do you do everything you do? And I honestly don't know. But so we decided, okay, we're not gonna try to buy this house. I'm still exercising. My back still hurt a little bit, but I'm good. And a month later, a realtor calls and said, hey, I don't want to get you guys too excited, but I'm pretty sure the deal is actually falling through on that house that you guys wanted. Are you interested? And we were like, we'll think about it. And we made an offer. Again, it got approved. And so we put our house on the market and sold our house in like 3 days. And all was good. End of July was coming. That was kind of when we were going to be buying this house. We closed on our house. We sold our current home, knowing that the next week we were going to close on the new house. Like there was an overlay. It was fine. We're going to stay in a hotel for a few days. We're going to get all of our stuff in storage for a few days. It's going to be great. And then the bank messed up with something to do with our loan because I'm a small business owner. And they said, we're sorry, you actually can't get the loan. So we've moved out of our house. We are thinking we're moving into our dream house, and we're not approved for our loan. And Nick and I went through this, like
you're never homeless.
I was
literally
homeless. We lived in a extended stay hotel for a month as we went through a new bank and got reapproved. We didn't know if we were going to get approved. Very high stress. I'm not at home. I don't have the food that I need. I don't have the gym. That's the furthest thing from my mind. And so I put on like 10 or 12 pounds. We're eating out, trying to eat healthy, so I'm starting to lose my edge. I'm going through this stress of like being homeless. Like what the heck? Like when we launched our course over the summer, I didn't have a home. We were doing that. I had my office. I'd go into the office and be like, Nick, I'm going to go back to the hotel now. Like pray for me. And it was really stressful, but I had Nick to talk to. I had friends to talk to. And so we get into our house. Okay. So we finally close on this house. And Nick, if I'm talking too much, just interrupt me. But we get into the house. We finally close on this house, and it's our dream house. The next week we kind of surprise our family. That was the goal, was to surprise them with a new house because of COVID. They hadn't seen us. So it was just like, whatever is fine. Like, let's surprise them. And so I invite my mom and dad over. They come see the house. They're here. And a week later, my dad dies. He was just here at my house. I had just been homeless. I just moved into this house. Hey, now my dad has passed away. And I know that a lot of you guys know that story, but that happened in October. And then in November, I actually got COVID and was out for like 3 weeks with COVID. And it was just going through so many different things. And in the meantime, of the 35 pounds I had lost, I had gained 25 of it back. And that's where I sit. I'm 10 pounds less than I was when I started working out a year and a half ago. I don't feel as good. I feel like I've lost my edge. I'm irritable. And like, I was having a conversation with my wife this morning. It's like I'm still just processing my dad passing away 7 months ago. I don't feel like I have my edge when it comes to my health. Like business is going great, but it's like I'm okay with just processing these emotions and what I'm going through. And as you're listening, you're probably like, oh my goodness, I feel for you. And I just don't ever let any of that out. I never am really talking to anybody about that. I'm really trying my best to like identify things like, oh wow, yeah, no wonder I'm numb. I'm trying to like not think about and process my dad dying, or not trying to think and process that I've gained 20 pounds back, or like, and so there's all this stuff going on, and it's okay. Nick?
Yes, it's okay. And one of the things that I hope listeners, like I know that John is one of those people that you might look up to, and you're like, man, he has it all together, his business and his house that he has, and what he's charging and all that kind of stuff. But again, just because we look good on the outside, like we're still human and we're still dealing with stuff, and there's things that we are going through that you might not know or might not recognize or whatever. So my wife Jen has been having lots of like shoulder problems, lots of neck, shoulder kind of problems. Like there's a few times, like, we shot a wedding in March, and like after the wedding, like she was knocked out for like 2 days because her shoulder hurt so bad. She was getting all these headaches and all this stuff. And, she had been to physical therapy, she had been to the doctor, whatever. She went to a chiropractor this last week, and he was checking her out, looking at her. And he said, you know what? I think that your shoulder problems are a symptom of something else. He's like, I think it's showing up as shoulder problems, but I think that you have something else. He was like, I think that you might have a slip disc in your spine somewhere. And he's like, you can rehab your shoulder all you want, but you are putting a Band-Aid on the bullet hole because you're not fixing the thing that needs fixed. You are just doing these symptoms. And I think this is one of those exercises that, as John has shared with his life and what he has gone through and what he has done, it's what maybe there's something that you're stressed out about your job, and you're like, I'm behind on these edits and I'm all this, but are there other things that are going on that maybe you should turn your attention to and focus on just a little bit? Okay. That is another encouragement for you. And I can't answer that for you. You are the only one that can answer that. But if you take a real honest look at yourself and you realize, man, my life is crazy. And, John wakes up and he's like, I'm just feeling numb. And why am I angry, or why am I this? And well, look at all the stuff that he's been through in the last 6 months, the last year. And it's no wonder that we're feeling this. So an encouragement is, again, hopefully you're hearing that. Do some self-examination, be self-aware of the things that are going on in your life. And, hopefully you can figure that stuff out. And the best way to do that is going to be to talk with someone that has a more fancy degree than I have. Right.
Yeah. And I know that for me, my personality type, I process things afterwards. I don't process everything and then make a decision. So I might respond negatively or gripe at my wife, who didn't do anything wrong. And she's like, what is going on with you? And that's when I'm like, oh, what is going on? And I have to like write down, think back, try to figure out what is going on with me. Like, why am I frustrated? What is going on? Oh yeah, duh, my dad died 7 months ago, and that's not that long. And I keep thinking about things I wish I would have said, or wished I would have had this thing better with him, or I have dreams with him, or whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, and we haven't even been in this house for, 8 months, 9 months. And oh yeah, we've been doing a lot with our educational brand. And it's okay to just, I know with some of the conversations I've had with Nick recently, just being like, man, I'm just in a bad mood because of these things, and I'm sorry, but I just am trying to be okay with not being the perfect version of myself all the time, because that's impossible to keep up with. And that's impossible. And I really just wanted to have that chat, like a little bit of this chat, so people don't look at Nick and me and think, like you said, Nick, that we just have stuff to, I am very happy in where I'm at with my life. I'm not, I'm in a good spot, but there are things to always be working on and always be aware of. And if you're not paying attention to those, that smoke, it's like, where's that smoke coming from? And you don't want it to get so bad that it's like, oh, this room in my house burned down. I have destroyed this part of my life because I wasn't willing to open that door and see what was going on in there. And it's like, what the heck does this have to do with wedding filmmaking? And why is this something that we're very adamant about talking about? Is because if you're not in a good spot, you're not going to be able to have longevity in your career, and you're not going to be able to be creative like you want to be. And at the end of the day, if you're creating killer wedding films, but you're not enjoying your life as you're doing it, why? What's the point? And that's the thing where I keep going back to, is like, oh, it's okay if I only want to shoot 5 weddings next year. That's okay. I don't need to explain that to somebody else. I grew up in a family with 4 boys. I'm one of 4 boys, and I never really had a preference. I was just like, like there's so many of us. It's like whatever everybody else wants to do. And like I've learned over the last 7 or 8 years, like, oh, I need to have a preference on what I want so I can be the best father and best husband and best brother and best son. And that all flows together with who we are. You can't just separate that from your work. And the more that you lean into knowing and understanding yourself and getting help when you need help, the more free you will be to be creative and not be in that rut or not feel overwhelmed, and giving yourself that ability to sabbatical and rest and planning that into your time and not staring at someone else's highlight reel thinking that your behind the scenes is never going to compare. And so all that wrapped into a ball of, we are here for you. We want you to succeed. Our group on Facebook is a great place to connect. We are going to start posting more mental health type threads, just checking in and making sure everybody's okay. But don't be embarrassed or afraid if you're in a position where you feel alone to reach out to somebody.
Yes. This was kind of the last direction we've taken since after break was, John was like, hey, I think we need to touch on this for a second. And it ended up kind of being the whole second half of our podcast. I know we said we would talk about, what do we do when we're kind of in a creative rut? And so I think we should weirdly transition. Let's
have an awkward transition.
Let's have an awkward transition. Oh, Blake, I don't know, sirens or something, maybe?
I got you, Blake. Okay. I already did that. Yeah.
So, just real quick, whenever I get in a creative rut, what are some of the things that I'm thinking about? What are some of the things that I am doing? The first one is this. I have always had this feeling that as a creative person, when I'm editing or that sort of stuff, I could only edit when I was quote unquote feeling it. Okay. Have you ever, I know I have bought into that, I'm not feeling it. So I might as well just take a nap or play video games or mow the lawn or do something else because I'm not quote unquote feeling it. Part of getting through that is to fake it till you make it. Okay. Sit down, start working, start editing, and maybe you're going to work for a certain amount of time. Put that on your calendar. Say, hey, I'm going to work on this edit for 2 hours today. And maybe you'll do 2 hours of crap. But maybe as you're in there and you start listening to the music and you start putting clips in, maybe you will be inspired. Maybe you will start to quote unquote feel it so that you can get into that edit. Another thing that I recommend when I'm feeling creatively stumped or have, editing block or whatever is I pick out the spots in my film like, okay, I know that during this swell of music, we're going to do the first look. And this swell of music, we're going to do when the couple sees each other or the first kiss or, something like that. I think we have the tendency to put those things in if we do it that way and then just start at the beginning and start going. If you're like, I don't know where to take this film, start at the middle and start editing. Start, kind of at the swell where like the high point of the music is maybe towards the end. And you're like, okay, I'm going to get the dancing reception, upbeat, fun stuff. I'm going to put that in right now and then go from there. So those are a couple things. Just do it. Schedule time and say, hey, I'm just going to do this. Or if you're in an edit and it's just not going well, start a different spot in the edit. John, anything that you would like to add?
In a creative rut to me is more than just the edit itself. But if I'm in a creative rut with an edit or with like in general, I write a lot now. And so if I'm feeling like I can't get creative in how I'm writing or drafting something or creating content about something, I actually, I want to take it a different direction. Those are great tips for sure. Get started, get going, do it. For me, I'm learning more and more that getting outside and taking a walk is a really good thing for me when I'm in a creative rut. When I'm in a creative rut, I am I'm trying to watch. I'll pull Peter McKinnon up and just watch him, or I will watch some YouTube content or something, or just try to go there. Or exercise is a big one for me if I'm in a creative rut. But a lot of times when I'm in a creative rut, it just involves me turning my phone off and being somehow in nature for a minute And so there's two different things. It's like, oh, I can't get started on this, or I need a break from this. There's two different sides to that. And so if you're just being lazy, it's like, hey, start going. If I'm in a creative rut on an edit, it's like, I'm just going to cull through some of the boring stuff. I'm going to sync some stuff up. I'm just going to like get into it. And then soon I'm just in this zone. Another thing is, I think the thief of all of our creativity is notifications and being distracted. We can't ever get into the zone because we're so attached to our phones and to our notifications. And so I can't stress it enough to communicate to whomever you need to communicate to and say, I'm putting a timer on for 2 hours. I'm turning Wi-Fi off, and I'm just going to turn on some music. I'm going to get excited. I'm just going to go for it. That's the thing. Like, those things like that will really start to add up. So that's my 2 cents on the creative rut side of things. A lot of times I'm in here with the windows closed and this light on me, and I'm in the dark and by myself, and it's a beautiful day outside, and I'm just like, I just need to get out there. I need to like read. I need to draw or something. So there's a million different things, but knowing what triggers you to feel like you're in a rut and knowing what gives you energy, like pay attention. When's the last time you just like felt like you had a pep to your step, or you're excited, or if I get the sunroof down and the wind going through my car and I'm just jamming out to some Tupac, I'm in a good mood. Or some 90s rap, whatever. But that's to me, like, I don't want to force it too much if I'm not feeling it, but also I think we use that as a crutch a lot as wedding filmmakers and creatives in general. Like, I'm not feeling it, so I'm going to go play Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. That is really, really good advice. We hope that today's podcast has been helpful to you. I'm sure that for some this will resonate more than others, like most of our stuff, but we know that it's an important topic, and we want to be, we want to, raise, the wedding film industry. Like, that's our whole goal. And this is a part of that, how you're handling your business, how you are coping. We want you to succeed in your business, and taking care of yourself mentally and physically is a part of you succeeding in your business. So, John, we are done for the day. We are wrapping up. Do you have anything else you would like to add?
The only other thing is that if you do need to reach out to somebody or whatever, just tag us in the Facebook group, in the How to Film Weddings Facebook group if you're not a part of it, or just DM us on Instagram at How to Film Weddings. Like, since I made that post yesterday, a lot of people have DM'd me on Instagram or on Facebook, and it's been cool to chat with a few of you. Like, we're here for you. We know the group is big, but at the same time, like, we want to be there for you. So happy that you've listened to this hour of us chatting about these things. Hopefully this style of podcast is something that really resonated with you, and we're just thankful for you.
Yeah,
that's all I have.
Absolutely. That's good. So what we want you to do, if you are not a part of our Facebook group, head over to howtofilmweddings.com/community. howtofilmweddings.com/community, and that will redirect you straight to our Facebook group. You can go right there. That's howtofilmweddings.com/community. John, thank you so much for opening up and sharing your heart and what you've been through the last year. I know that wasn't necessarily easy, but I know that you see the value in, being transparent and being honest and being open with others. So thank you for doing that. Listeners, again, we hope that this message today was helpful to you. And until next time, we will see you.
See you guys. Are you looking for a better way to deliver your wedding films to your couples? Look no further. Our friends over at WedFlow provide the most flexible video delivery solution on the market. WedFlow is pay per project with no large upfront cost or commitment, and you can cancel anytime. Not only that, WedFlow offers a premium viewing experience for your couples, accessible on mobile, tablet, desktop, as well as their very own suite of TV apps. Each project comes with 10 years hosting and an experience for your clients that will blow them away. Stop delivering your films the old-fashioned way and give your couples something to rave about. Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/wedflow to check out WedFlow today.